Hi.
Hola.
Hi, hier ist Mr. Döse.
This is Michael Bradley.
Hey, I'm Memphis.
Hey.
Hola. Hello.
I'm here with soccer.com.
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 And I'm talking with my friends soccer.com.
See you soon.
Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the brand new Adidas Copa 17.3 in the Red Limit Pack colorway. Now inside the box, all you get are the shoes themselves, no extras are included, and of course here is a look at the shoe. This is the second takedown model in the new Copa 17 line. The 17.1 retails for $200, the 17.2 retails for $110, and then you have the 17.3 with a retail price of $70 US. So it is a fairly low budget model in terms of its pricing, but how does that make the quality? Is it a decent quality shoe considering other leather shoes at the $70 price point? That's kind of something we're going to be focusing on in today's video, as well as comparing it to the higher end models in the Copa 17 line. So we'll go over all of the tech specs, take a look at the weight of the shoe, as well as talk about how these things fit and feel on feet. So if you are interested in learning more about the Copa 17.3, stick around and watch the entire video. If you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, there'll be a little pop-up on screen, or you can click the first link down below in the description. That'll take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal $70 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, a little pop-up on screen, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's talk performance and tech specs. Now, given the $70 retail price of the Copa 17.3, you can't be too harsh in terms of criticizing the quality of the shoe. It's a very low price point, and I think the quality reflects that to a certain extent, but at the same time, I honestly don't think the quality is too bad. What you're going to find on this shoe is a full grain leather at the front, so basically from this seam forward, cutting off at pretty much the same point here on the medial side. You can see the natural leather stamp right there. You get a full grain leather upper, which is essentially a variation of calfskin leather. And the quality is honestly half decent. It's very soft out of the box, much better than I would expect at this particular price point, and a very similar thickness to what you're gonna find from the 17.1 to a certain extent. The downside is, of course, the rest of the upper is not a leather material, although you do get some leather on the underside of the actual tongue at the top. So from this seam up, it is natural leather for whatever reason, but the backside is a synthetic material, so that kind of defeats the purpose to a certain extent. We'll get to that more in just a second. With that being said, it's a synthetic leather material that is fairly cheap, but it's decently thin and pretty flexible. So it does have not quite the same softness as the natural leather, of course, but it doesn't necessarily feel stiff or uncomfortable or bulky on your foot. And in comparison to the 17.2 Copa, which I feel like the synthetic they use through the midfoot and tongue area is just a little bit too bulky, I actually prefer this overall. So as far as the quality of the upper is concerned, yes, it's $40 more for the 17.2, but there's not a huge difference between the 17.2 and the 17.3, to the point where I might actually say that I prefer the upper of the 17.3 just based on this material through the midfoot. While cheap, it's thinner and just less bulky overall. Of course, the laces run through the middle. You do not get the compression tongue system like you're going to get on the 17.1. Instead, you get a synthetic leather material, again, same thickness as the rest of the midfoot, and then this big flap tongue. So kind of unusual. It's very large. So it's kind of going to sit up like that, which I guess is something that will bother some people. I didn't find it to be too bothersome, although I do wish it was a little bit shorter. And as far as folding it over is concerned, you can do that. You can see that's what it looks like, although you're going to have a hard time of getting this to stay down if you're just going to leave the laces underneath. It's going to go up like that almost immediately. The only way really to keep it down is to tie your laces over top of the tongue, but then you have a lot of unnecessary bulk across the top of your foot, which is no good either. So I think for the majority of people, you're going to end up wearing it up like this. So again, kind of a downside of this particular shoe, but that's something they chose to incorporate into the design. Standard low cut at the heel, as you guys can see, nothing fancy there. Internal plastic heel counter. You get the perforated synthetic leather liner on the inside with a decent amount of padding. The insole is fully glued in, kind of what you would expect at this particular price point, although it's not that big of a deal. And then moving on to the sole plate, it's the Gloro 16.1 sole plate, exactly the same as what you'll find on the 17.2, just without the translucent plastic. So this obviously does look a little bit cheaper, but the feel and performance is pretty much identical. So it has some decent flexibility to it. And of course you do get the stud pattern from the Gloro, which is pretty much the same stud pattern across the Adidas brand in general right now. All conical studs, the exact same layout we've come to expect from Adidas, and it gets the job done. It's nothing too fancy in regards to performance, but it works, and that's really all you can say about it. So overall, at the $70 price point, it's not a terrible option. I've always said that if you're gonna buy a really low-end shoe, a second or third takedown model, going for something with some natural leather is always the best option, just because you're going to get some kind of softness, some kind of quality from a natural material versus a cheap synthetic. Leather will always feel soft, cheap synthetic will always feel cheap. That's kind of how I like to say it. So overall, if you have $70 to spend and you only have access to this, definitely a decent option overall. But if you have $70 to spend, always consider what else is on sale. Take a look at all of your options, because you can often find a higher end, higher quality shoe at that particular price point marked down, be it a previous colorway or previous model, that's going to surpass the quality of this shoe, but still be within your budget. So again, not a bad option. I definitely would say that if you must have something within the Copa 17 line and you can't afford the 17.1, I would honestly go for the 17.3 over the 17.2. In terms of weight, I thought we'd compare the Copa 17.2 to the 17.3 to see if there's any significant weight difference between the two. So I'm gonna weigh both shoes for you today using this scale in real time. Keep in mind they're both in brand new condition and both the exact same size 9 US. We'll start off with the 17.2, throw it on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 9.25 ounces, the equivalent of 262 grams. Remember those numbers. Change the scale back to ounces, and we'll throw on the 17.3, and you can see that they weigh in at 8.7 ounces, the equivalent of 247 grams. So they're half an ounce less than the 17.2. Is that a noticeable amount of weight? Not necessarily in hand, but when you put the shoes on, like I said, because of the thinner synthetic material through the midfoot, you definitely do have a less bulky feel from the 17.3, which I personally view as a positive thing. So again, if you're trying to decide between these two shoes, the quality gap isn't significant enough, in my opinion, to justify the extra $40 for the 17.2. And if you want to spend the extra $40, you have better options out there, period. I just wouldn't buy the 17.2 in general. As far as aesthetics are concerned, the Copa 17.3 definitely does look like a lower end shoe. The leather at the toe definitely looks pretty good. The synthetic through the midfoot, not the greatest in terms of quality. You don't get the embroidered Adidas stripes like you'll find on the higher end models. And I will admit that this tongue piece, being as big as it is a little bit of a goofy feature, visually at least. The material at the back obviously isn't that mesh-based synthetic, which doesn't look quite as premium as the higher-end models either. And then you get the solid white sole plate, which doesn't look bad, but translucent does look a little bit more premium, again, like you'll find in the 17.2 and 17.1. So all in all, it's kind of to be expected at this particular price point, but I definitely think there are shoes that look a lot cheaper than the Copa 17.3 at the same time. So it really depends on what you're looking for, and I guess it depends on what you like as well. But let me know what you guys think of these down below in the comment section. Do you love them? Do you hate them? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the on-feet portion of the video so we can get a better idea as to how these shoes fit, feel, and of course, what the sizing is like. Alright, so here is a look at the Copa 17.3s on feet. On my left foot I have the stock red laces that come with the shoes, and on my right foot I have a pair of black fade SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. There'll be a little pop-up on screen as well as a link down below in the description that'll take you directly there. So if you're interested in a pair, be sure to go ahead and check that out. Now in terms of how these things fit and feel on feet, they're actually remarkably comfortable given the $70 price point. The leather at the toe, pretty soft out of the box. It's only going to get softer as you wear them in. The synthetic through the rest of the upper, while it doesn't feel premium, it doesn't feel uncomfortable, bulky, or stiff, which is definitely an important thing. It seems to move quite nicely with your foot, and it just feels decent in general. There's nothing about it that I would say is a major complaint. The lockdown in the heel, no issues there. And the underfoot sensation with the Gloro 16.1 sole plate also feels pretty good. My only major complaint here is this big tongue. Again, it kind of sits up like this. You can fold it down. That's kind of what it looks like, but it doesn't necessarily stay in place all that well. You would have to kind of tie over top of the tongue to hold it down. But again, I just feel like that creates a lot of unnecessary bulk. But again, for the most part, given the $70 price point, they're better than I was expecting. As far as width is concerned, these are gonna fit just about anybody. They have some decent width to them overall. Obviously, you're not going to get a lot of stretch through the midfoot given the synthetic material, but for the most part, I think these will fit most people pretty well. And as far as sizing is concerned, just like the rest of the Copa 17 line, they run true to size. I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. Alright guys, that is it for my review of the Adidas Copa 17.3 in the Red Limit Pack colorway. If you're interested to pair these for yourself, you can either click the little eye in the corner of the screen or the first link down below. That'll take you to the review page on my website where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal $70 retail price. If you have any questions regarding this shoe, leave them down below in the comment section and I definitely will answer all of your questions. If you did enjoy today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all of my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.